So, incredible setup, JT.
Thank you.
Incredible improvement over your usual one.
Can I?
Very minimalistic. You probably...
I'm just trying to move this around without disconnecting anything so I can show that to your viewers.
Why are you sitting next to a box of explosives?
That is not mine. That is my daddy's. Back when he worked demolitions, he had this box that he would carry around his explosives in. I don't know that it would have actually saved him if anything blew up in there, but it's a nice heavy metal box. Looks like it's been dropped and or thrown many times, but it's a nice piece. Currently, it is weighting down this table, which is resting upon a Pelican case, because this arm is so front heavy that the table would fall over if the large box of empty box of explosives was not there. So
for those of us only listening to us through audio, he's literally has a massive red box that says explosives on it, and that's what he's using to keep the microphone from falling over. Incredible setup. Why is this? Why this change of scenery, JT? Did anything big happen in life?
Yes, it did. I have left the motherland. I am no longer in Texas. I took my last pilgrimage to Buc-ee's. Said farewell to the beaver. Had my last Whataburger, and I guess I can't use the accent anymore because I'm no longer in Texas. So
oh my God, rest in peace to Texas, JT. The lore has been intense and beautiful, but now he's literally in the other room right there. He finally released us from the basement. We are finally equals on this show.
At last.
And he moved to Skopje, Sarajevo, Belgrade, Sofia, Bucharest, where I'm actually stationed.
That would kind of slap, though, honestly.
Oh my God, that would be so sick. That would be absolutely
Just
sick.
imagine if I stood up and walked in that door, dear viewer. How cool would that be? Oh, that'd be the most hype reveal.
Be very cool. That would be very cool. We should have done that for the live episode. But alas, we are not the smartest of boys. Not the smartest of boys. Was the move hard? Fucking boxes and shit. You got to package everything and open. And of course, you Americans have a package for a package for a package. So it's extra things that you must own.
Yeah, you don't realize how much stuff you have. And we have, a modest amount of stuff for Americans, I would say.
Of course.
But yeah, we ended up hiring some movers because I was like, I'm not going to drive an enormous U-Haul that many hours across the country to where I am now, full of stuff. They're loud, they're rattly, but we still had to box everything up ourselves. I mean, you can pay them to do it, but we're like, no, I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars for you to box our stuff and break it. So we did that. We just had them wrap the furniture and stuff and load that because I'm old and frail and I don't want to hurt my back.
More than you already have.
Yeah, no kidding. Jeez, falling apart. But yeah, it was a nice, easy, seamless experience. Bless up. Shout out to Mayflower. They're a great company. At least for us, it was a good experience. And it was like half the price of what Pods had quoted us. This company that brings you a big box, you load it with your stuff, they pick it up with a truck and take it somewhere. It was like half the price of that. It was insane. So yeah, if you're trying to move cross country, look into one of the big accredited moving companies. Don't get screwed by these fly-by-night ones.
Sponsored by all accredited moving companies of the U.S. So
I didn't know there was
like a great deal on this.
There's like a federal thing where you can go to the website and it's like, these ones are okay. They will not steal your stuff. If it's not accredited by this like federal board, then they might steal your stuff, which is an enormous industry, and I didn't realize that.
But Balkan brain already starting to work. So I can just pretend I'm moving, and half of the boxes I fill with books and tech and so on, and the other half with pure Colombian Coke, and they will just drive it for me.
And they will drive it for you, yes.
So why would anybody ever take the risk? Like that's a new perfect way of actually moving some good material across the country.
I bet people do that. I bet that's a little cottage industry they got going on.
Or maybe the movers themselves, you got a few bad apples that have a side gig. Some of them are discussing and have a podcast about moving companies, and the other less horrible ones, drug dealers and cartel members, they just use their job position.
12,000 pounds of cocaine.
Yeah. Oh, it's my favorite. Whenever somebody mentions and says it in that perfect accent of yours, cocaine, it reminds me of that Joe Rogan episode where he was listing out the average day of Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh,
Have you
yeah.
seen it? Yeah, and it's like wakes up, cocaine, Chivas on the rocks, then cocaine, then takes the edge off the day at like 1 p.m. after having woken up 1 hour before with some weed. Incredible lifestyle, absolutely
Psychopath.
incredible lifestyle. Peak goals, if you know what I mean. I just came back from the country that is opposite of all of that. Switzerland, the cleanest, most civilized, most to an extent, corporatized country on the planet. When you
It
go
looked
to
beautiful, though.
Yeah. The nature is some of the greatest I've ever seen, if not the greatest I've ever seen. It's just an incredible place. But unless you drive through it, you don't realize how tiny it is.
Yeah.
Every other city is like an hour and a half drive away. But the nature is absolutely fascinating. It's so clean that it's scary to my Balkan brain. Like everything looks like a pharmacy, right? Everything is like just absolutely fucking perfect. At one point, we noticed that most of the people vacationing around the area where we were at that were Swiss were just all old, because all the other Swiss just work 7 days a week until they get to retire, and then they go hiking up their mountains, and they go swim in their freezing lakes, even though to them it's like, what the fuck, it's not that cold. But yeah, it's a nice place. If you want to waste a lot of money, do go visit it, because it is absolutely painstakingly expensive. Like two small beers and a coffee and a water are like $35-$36
Good
at
God.
like the most random cafe, just like that, just standing there, right? Like we got 2 sandwiches, like larger sandwiches. They were nice. Also, they were 27 euros, which is again $34-$35, right? Just 2 sandwiches. It's the most expensive place I've ever been to, but I guess high point of entry for the world's elites. But you get to live in borderline. Either depends on how you look at it. Either like Star Trek or like the rich, well-kept places in Star Wars' Empire, right? And my aunt lives there, and she gave a really nice comment while we were walking by, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh my God, everybody is so well dressed." She's like, "Yeah, that's all bankers, and we just refer to them as gangsters in suits here, because yes, we're a neutral country, we never went to war, we have a very decent social safety net, but a lot of that money comes from banking, and a lot of that banking is done for corporations that want to get away with murder financially, quite literally, and insane cartels and terrorist organizations that are literally getting away with murder. So somebody's got to pay for all of this." I asked, and then that answer was received. But no, just the mountains, and it's literally like out of a movie. And there's the fucking cows everywhere, and all the grass, even on the mountains, is like perfectly well cut. Apparently, some of the like private owners of those areas that people get to experience, get money from the government to maintain the fields, blah blah blah, which is a relative win-win. They hire a company that pays for their salary. They take whatever is in between, or they take care of it themselves. The state supports you maintaining the aesthetic and cleanliness of your place, which could be something that we could parallel in a early stage socialist system, et cetera, et cetera. But no, genuinely, incredibly beautiful place, but not to repeat myself, as always, somebody has to pay for it, and extremely unnerving if you're coming from the global south, because like nothing is supposed to be that clean. It's so good, it's horrible. It's so good, it's dystopian. You're like, okay, they must be sacrificing babies.
Where's the cult?
Where's the cult? Literally, you're walking around and you're looking around, and then you realize the cult is just capitalism, and 2 sandwiches cost 30 euros, and you're like, that's the cult. Okay, I found the nothing like. Everything has to have a counterbalance in life. In the case of Switzerland, it's just good old everything is insanely expensive. That's just the answer. So yeah,
such is
it
life.
was nice, was romantic, was nice, was cute. And now I'm back to this beautiful shithole I call my home, and I wouldn't exchange it for anything else.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Here in Texas, the government does not pay for us to maintain anything. In fact, if you have a nice piece of private land that was once beautiful, what we do here is we put up, 15 miles of barbed wire and a sign that says, if you step 1 foot on this ground, by God, I'm going to shoot you right in the head.
Yeah, brother, don't come very close,
We've got this common sign here that says, trespassers will be shot, survivors will be shot again. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Just class. Yeah. Such is life in the greatest country on earth.
But it's interesting, like that law of defending property. I used to subscribe to it a lot until I talked to a guy that gave me a very decent counter argument, which is pretty much the regulation when it comes to who you get to shoot when they endanger your private property in most of Europe from east to west. And that's basically, you get to take a life if your life is in danger, but you don't get to take a life when he's stealing your fucking car.
Right.
Okay, he's doing a fucked up thing. He's stealing your mode of transportation. I almost said mode of production. Jesus Christ. I'm in a cult, apparently.
Yeah, you are.
But no, at least a religion. But he's like, yeah, he's doing a fucked up thing, but he's not trying to kill you. It's not on the same level of him attempting to take a life, so he deserves his life to be taken. And to an extent, I fuck with that. That's number one. And number two, my grandpa, who's hyper-religious, a bit reactionary, but I love him. He gave me an example, I think, of Saint Nicholas or whatever, or some
Santa?
bishop guy. Santa to an extent. When he was being robbed, he sees the guy robbing him, and he literally just tells him, do you need anything else? And then that guy starts questioning his life, and then comes back, lives with him, he gets educated into a new way of life, into spirituality, blah blah blah. But all I'm trying to pitch here is that the equalization of private property, or even damage or theft of private property, no matter how near and dear it is to your heart, there is a pretty decent argument to be made that should never be equalized with an argument that you then get to ascribe to yourself, which is, I get to kill this dude. The only counter argument that I feel is relatively fucking legitimate is, dude, I don't have time to fucking calculate if this guy's stealing my TV or if he wants to stab my 3-year-old. So you're getting, three Glocky 9mm in your fucking chest. Fuck off, right? Which is a decent argument. Like, I'm no joke. It's
That's why that every lawyer in the U.S. is like, you must say, I felt like my life was in danger. Doesn't matter if it was. You have to say, I felt like my life was in jeopardy. It's a perfectly legal defense to make. It's hard to refute that.
Absolutely. I can't wait to go watch a Disney movie and then empty a clip into the cinema screen because it endangered my life with the woke black characters of the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the good old Deprogram. This is episode 7850, and we are talking to you from the 341st year of the Great Water Wars. The third emperor has fallen, but a fourth has risen. We serve. Empero saluti, Empero saluti. Anyways, it is that time in the month where we continue the longest running news show to ever exist in history of humanity. We started it originally when we were doing this communist podcast thing, when we would be like, we have the most original show in the world. We will read out the news and then we will comment on it, and we called it Send Nudes. But once we became the most influential and greatest show to ever exist, the first emperor, Julius Caesar, Hitler, Adolf, Trump, Kamala, they just used the genetics of all of them to create the first one. They were like, these guys, they're on to something. They're the best. Brat, Coconut, Zekiel. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to mix all of them. What they would say if they were one, right? Yeah. They said said, we will give them eternal life. So that is why we are coming to you from the future with episode 1,340,780 off-send nudes, where we do what? We look at the news and we comment on them. It's still the most original show. And with that being said, please, JT, take it off my hands. Tell us about what is happening in the future. Grim, dark.
You got it, brother.
This episode is sponsored by brave space marines who have...
Yeah, I'm doing my part. Anyway, Grimdark is right. There has been yet another school shooting in the U.S., this time at Appalachia High School in Georgia. This marks the 45th school shooting this year. The suspect, I know, it's a 14-year-old kid. It's like, Jesus Christ. One of my sisters is 14. Like, how do you? I don't know. I don't even know what to say. Anyway, the kid left.
It's a struggling, dying society, slowly degrading into its own tumorous spore. And
it's just so sad that it's the kids that are the ones that are suffering most. It's awful.
It's always that.
But the kid, he left his Algebra 1 class around 9:45 in the morning. Then he came back towards the end of class. And luckily, as part of this grim reality we exist in, most modern U.S. school doors automatically lock when they close. So he got up, he went to the bathroom, and then when he came back, I guess he went to get his gun from wherever he hid it, which is still not clear, apparently, where he hid the gun, how he got the gun into the school. But he got back to the door, and he had to knock to get let back in. So a classmate got up to let him in, but she saw the gun and refused. And now, according to a witness, the suspect then entered another classroom and fired 10 to 12 shots from what's been described as an AR platform rifle. 2 students and 2 teachers were killed, both math teachers. One of them was the assistant football coach as well. And at least 9 others were injured. Thankfully, all of the wounded are expected to recover. The shooter surrendered after being confronted by a school cop.
Finally, a school cop that didn't run away.
They did their job. They did the one thing they're there to do.
Yeah.
So you know what? That's great. He stopped it. School cops shouldn't be a thing, but good for him for stopping the situation. The police were alerted pretty quickly through a new security measure that had been implemented just a week earlier. School staff all wear these ID tags now with like a panic button that can track their location. Another innovation that we really shouldn't need. But, at least it exists if we're going to be stuck with these shootings for the rest of time.
In the wealthiest, most prestigious country to ever exist in the history of humanity, that even if 10% of what is happening there is not even a common occurrence, but a yearly occurrence in any point on planet Earth,
yearly, weekly.
There would be, Atlantic articles coming out daily about how it's an incredibly sick society,
failed
and how
state,
things would need to change, and it would be a great article because that would be true. But here it's just at the point of normalization that is absolutely incredible, at least to the foreign eye. And it's not even school shootings. It's like you guys like in big cities, like just walking by, people borderline ODing on drugs, the insane levels of like just rampant homelessness everywhere. People just being extremely unhinged on the street in general. That's just part of everyday life.
That's the way it is.
Make it like people, watch fucking, cyberpunk movies, play games, grim dark future, etc., etc. I'm not saying we're there yet, but you will not notice when you get there because like you're so fast at normalizing the most disgusting, horrible consequences of this system operating the way it is right now that you will not notice when you enter quote-unquote dystopia, even though that's a loaded term, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Because you most likely already have. Because often, you read these books or you watch these movies, you play these games, you're like, how did they let it come to this point? And then, like, respectfully, you go to fucking,
look at the U.S.
New York, New York, and I'm walking on that, fucking 10th Avenue. I'm like, Jesus, this is happening. What? Yeah. This is how it happens.
We don't take care of our own. Normal. Yeah, we don't take care of our own. It's fiercely individualistic, and part of the problem is the gamification of politics, where there's bad stuff happening, but it's under my guy, so I'm going to ignore it. Then as soon as the other guy's in, there's bad stuff happening, it's under your guy, it's his fault, and so you never really address the situation. But yeah, it's so incremental that we see it getting worse. Those of us who are attuned to this sort of thing, we watch it because that's our job and it sucks and we see it getting worse. But the average person has no idea. It's a slow, steady worsening, rolling back of rights. It's like the sandwich thing. I don't know how people afford to eat these days. Like every time I go to the grocery store, I'm like, wow, that is fully 3 times what it cost, like 2020, something like that. It's insane. It's not good. But anyway, back to this particular story. The suspect, who has been identified but we will not name, will appear in court on Friday and is expected to be tried as an adult. The kid was questioned by law enforcement last year after threatening to shoot up the school and posting pictures of guns.
Wow.
But yeah, I know. It's insane. It's like, okay, he says, I'm going to shoot up the school. He posts pictures of guns. Surely there's something you can do at that point to mitigate the risk. Take the guns out of the dad's home. But anyway, it was determined that those actions didn't reach the threshold of being able to take legal action. So area schools will be closed.
The dad, you have a child that is, sorry for interrupting you.
No.
That is threatening to shoot up a thing. You need to make, not sure, like you need to.
That is your responsibility to remove the variable that will allow him to do that. It's like, it's not hard.
It's completely
so
impossible for him to get it to that. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he got it. He got a hold of the gun, or at least one of the guns. And that's that. So area schools will be closed for the rest of the week while an investigation is conducted. And at that time of writing, the top headline for this story is Friday's football game at this high school canceled. I'm like, yeah, no shit, it's canceled. Like, oh my God, it's the most American-brained thing.
Attempted edginess.
Yeah, it's so sad. I mean, like, on the one hand, you're like, okay, this kid murdered 4 people, 2 of them his age, 14-year-old kids, and 2 people who have dedicated their lives to teaching the next generation while being paid dog shit wages. And so on the one hand, you're like, you know what? I'm glad this kid's being tried as an adult. Once you kill a kid, you forfeit your right to live a normal life. On the other hand, you're like, God damn, this kid should not have been in a situation where he could do this, right? He shouldn't have felt like he needed to do it. There should have been enough help to prevent him from reaching this point, and he should not have had access to his dad's gun, especially if this was like a prior problem that they had seen. There should have been some kind of mental health intervention. There should have been some kind of legal intervention, or at least some kind of, I'm sure the dad's a member of the NRA. The NRA should do home checks and be like, is your firearm secured? Yes. Okay, fine. It can stay. If it's not secured, you get a fine and a warning. You do it again, it gets taken away. Something like that. Just, it's one of those things that makes me so mad and also so disappointed. Is like, what do you even do? Like, as a parent, like, I've got a young daughter. It's like, in a couple of years, we're going to have to figure out where to send her to school, or whether we should homeschool, which comes with its own baggage. And that is such a daunting prospect for American parents right now. It is nuts. But yeah, so that's shooting number 45 this year. Not great.
Wow. Just, I've said everything I could say on this topic at this point.
Yeah.
So my reaction is always just wow. Just wow. But moving on to the next story, which might be a little bit more positive, except if you are a member of the low-life scum piece of shit category, which I am as well, and I believe JT is as well, and that is people who actually use Twitter, also known as X. You suck if you do, objectively, but it's sometimes fun. And by fun, I mean it makes me want to rip my ribcage off, crush it into small pieces, and then proceed to stab myself in the neck with it. In a significant setback for our favorite failson, one failson to rule them all, Elon Musk has had a record number of businesses reduce their advertising ventures on the site next year, largely because the website is just, the Third Reich at this point. Okay?
It's insane.
It's everything. It's everything. It's absolutely everything. It's just, that meme. There's a video of it says Instagram, and then there's a scene from Barbie, the movie.
Yeah.
Hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, and then it's X, and it's just a video from the very good comedy that makes fun of Nazis and just guys saying Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler. But yeah, the this dramatic shift is underscored by a global survey conducted by market research firms, one very big one in particular, which reveals that a net percentage of 26% of marketers are inclined to decrease their investment in X for 2025. This represents the most substantial retrenchment recorded from any major global advertising venue ever.
Wow.
Yes, ever. So just to put this in perspective for all you out there struggling to pay your bills, one of the richest men on the planet is such an idiot at what he does that he's managed to fail his way into history, and yet he's still, well, one of the richest men on the planet. So, yeah. Yep.
And if I can interrupt real quick, I just saw this before we started recording. He is in the running. Trump has just made an announcement saying that he will have Elon Musk head a department for government efficiency.
Efficiency, because he's so efficient and fucking things up. Incredibly efficient and fucking
running things
up.
into the ground. Just put him at the head of the EPA or the education department. Whatever you want to destroy, just put him at the head of it. You're great.
No. I love how you use the word running things into the ground, because the overpriced and borderline useless project of sending satellites into the internet so that you can connect to the internet via satellite instead of actually developing infrastructure and having, fiber optic cable. Well, those are almost crashing every 10 fucking seconds as they spin around the globe. And eventually one of them is going to crash into the other one, and then going to crash into all the other ones, and then crash into all the fucking satellites. And then we might, in the worst case scenario, have a literal cloud of junk
and be trapped
constantly
forever.
at high speeds orbiting around the planet, leading us to be trapped, created by your greatest fail son of all grave sons. Hopefully grave son, if you know what I mean. Fail sons of all time. No, just single-handedly just fucking everything up for the rest of us, while his little chud donkeys are like, oh my god, daddy's so good.
Yeah.
Please put it in my mouth. I'm drooly for it.
I don't get it. I don't understand how people still like this guy. Like, is there anything he's done right recently? Like his Cybertruck that everyone was clamoring for rips in half. The frame just snaps. Like, I don't know if you saw the video of the Whistling Diesel testing. It's like he hasn't made a good product ever. Like, Tesla was cool and revolutionary at the time, but he bought his way into that. That's not even his thing. The guy's a loser. I hope he goes down in history as one of the biggest losers. Man, what a swindler.
And this incredible loser is one of the most powerful and wealthiest people on planet Earth. So next time somebody tells you that hard work equals success in this fucking decrepit aging system, just point them at Elon Musk. And then if they're like, but wait, no, he's actually cool, leave the room, no longer ever talk to that person, because you should not have anybody in your life that actually is a Elon Musk fanboy. They are either an Elon Musk fanboy because they were dropped a few too many times as a baby, or they just like objectively suck. It is the least cool thing. I cannot think of a less cool thing than liking Elon Musk. That literally the least cool thing.
He's not a renegade. He's not a renegade. He's not cool. He's not charismatic. There's nothing about him that is not. Yeah.
And then obsessing over that's if you have a poster of Elon Musk in your room. All the jokes I would do are suicide jokes, so I'm not gonna do them. I play them through my brain.
I saw the wheels turning. He's like, how do I not say kill yourself?
Yeah. I was gonna say, the 9mm.
Yeah.
And the last thing you taste.
Very poetic.
That's what I was gonna say. But back to business with Hugo. Takes me back. Despite Musk's attempts at a public relations recovery at the Cannes Lions Advertising Festival in June, where he adopted a more conciliatory approach towards advertisers, the results have been completely underwhelming. During a conversation with CEO 378, Corporate Sector 1059, Musk acknowledged the importance of advertisers being able to choose placements statements that align with their brand values. However, his earlier confrontational stance, where he urged advertisers to, quote, go fuck themselves, together with his almost daily posts in support of unhinged right-wing conspiracy theories, continues to, put it very lightly, cast a long shadow over the future of the platform. In a separate yet related development, Brazilian President Lula criticized Mark's far-right agenda, asserting that the world should not be obligated to accept it solely because of his wealth, in a move that escalated tensions between Brazil mentioned, the Brazilian, at X, the Brazilian Supreme Court ordered the platform to be blocked after Musk failed to appoint a new legal representative in the country, smallest Brazilian W, which reflects an ongoing dispute about the boundaries of free speech and the combat of misinformation on digital platforms as a whole. That last segment was a literal reading from a quote from an article. But I don't think there's an ongoing conversation about combating misinformation, because this lovely gentleman literally took a platform, and he kind of, the one thing we should be thankful to him for is he showed us what happens when you remove any basic moderation from a platform such as that, and it just becomes Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler, Heil Hitler.
It's wild. It was almost overnight, like over the course of a month, maybe something like that. My timeline went from being usable, like, seeing all the people that I follow and care about and seeing reasonable posts, to one blatantly Nazi thing. Oh, that's weird. Hide or block. 3 blatantly Nazi things. And then it's just like all Nazi garbage. Like, how? How do you...
easy. Come on, you know the answer.
I mean, yeah, I understand.
Nazis. Dude, the second Elon Musk took over X, I'm sure both Xi Jinping and Putin were like, oh. You know that meme with, take my money.
Yeah,
They're calling up all the server and bot farms. Take my money right now.
Yeah. Oh, so...
division.
Like, as much as Twitter has always sucked, it's always been a shithole, at least it was kind of a useful shithole, and now it's not even useful.
It's a forum. It was the city center.
Yeah.
I talk about this all. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, and now it's like, man, I just want to get my news, and I can't even do that. Like, I would open it, 5 times a day just to check real quick, keep up to date with stuff, and now I'm having to do it the old-fashioned way. You're making me go online to various news platforms.
Websites.
I'm a goddamn boomer or something. But yeah, rip to Twitter. It was fun while it lasted.
I don't know. I have like 80,000 children that will be left homeless once the platform dies. But hey, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah. Well,
but
maybe
ironically, like for our careers, it's not going to impact it at all, because Twitter is 1,000,000,000% useless when it comes to growing anything outside 100%, of Twitter.
Yeah.
Like Twitter does not, even before Elon Musk, does not want to have people clicking on things and going off the platform at all. So it's just like completely useless. It's completely useless. If you're trying to build any online presence, put 1% of your time on Twitter, and that's, I think, too much. It's not going to contribute to anything. Except potentially getting you into drama that you completely do not need, right? Unless you're a piece of shit that enjoys drama, then
if you're a drama farmer, like if that's your shtick, it could be useful. Like you could get screenshots out of it, but other than that, I've never seen a bump on any of my videos from like a hit tweet. it's a dopamine drip.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, it's election season in America, and you know what that means. Staring straight into the gaping maw of despair as we watch 2 absolute freaks face off in what will surely be a thrilling debate. This coming Tuesday, we'll all get to ignore the first presidential debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris.
I can't wait to pretend I care.
Honestly, that's the thing. It's like, oh, there's a presidential debate. It's like, I had no idea about the last one. And this one, I only know about because I was checking breaking news today to write these stories. But
incredible political commentators over here on the Deprogram.
Yeah, it's like, there's the news.
Wooba, weeba, wooba, wooba.
Yeah. So, Biden shot the bed. He dropped out. Harris.
Did you hear that the Nord Storm was exploded? The North Pipeline.
Hey, that was.
We're like 2-3 years back. We're like,
those were exciting times. Give me those times again. No, please don't give me those times again.
No, please don't.
There's a reason it's a Chinese curse. May you live in interesting times. So Harris became the presumptive nominee after Biden shat the bed, and then she was shortly thereafter given Obama's blessing, which sealed the deal. Both candidates hoped to secure the Chud vote, with Harris outlining her new small business plan at a campaign event in New Hampshire, and Trump's VP pick Just Dance Vance giving remarks at an event hosted by Turning Point Action. Now, as far as polling goes, the Democrats are in a vastly better position than they were before Biden dropped out. After repeatedly speaking to spirits on stage, Biden trailed Trump in national polls and in multiple swing states. Harris, on the other hand, has never once attempted to cross the void in front of a live studio audience. She holds a tiny, less than 2-point lead over Trump at time of recording. But what makes matters worse for the blue team is that Kamala's lead is actually considerably smaller than those of Trump's previous opponents. In national polls, Clinton led by 5 points in 2016, and Biden led by 6.3 in 2020. But we all know the popular vote means jack shit in the U.S., so let's talk Electoral College, which favors Republicans. Yeah. Harris has managed to reduce Biden's deficit in swing states, for the most part, most notably in Arizona and Georgia, where Trump now holds less than half-point leads. Meanwhile, Harris leads by between half a point and 1.4 points in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The two ghouls are well within the 2-point margin of error in 7 swing states. So just judging by the raw data, the election is currently a toss-up. But one factor that should keep the Democrats up at night is that Trump consistently outperformed polls in both 2016 and 2020. According to one study of the 2020 election, the polling error was the highest in 40 years for the national popular vote and the highest in at least 20 years for state-level estimates of the vote. Some polling averages missed the mark by nearly 8 points. Now, if you want my expert opinion, personally, I still think Trump's got this one. We'll see. I mean, he doesn't have the juice of his first campaign, but it's not hard to be more charismatic and funnier than the Democrats. So if for some reason you'd like to watch the Harris-Trump debate, you can stream it live on Disney+, Hulu, Florpo, Balsley, and Dingle.io. So enjoy.
Brilliant. I can't wait to watch it. And by I can't wait to watch it, I mean the cold embrace of...
You're on a roll today. I'm gonna get out my censoring gloves for this edit.
Okay. Anyways, moving on to other elections. More specifically, the truest way to run elections, at least when it comes to Western countries, and that's coups.
Yay.
Over in France, President Emmanuel Macron has done a soft coup by ignoring half a century of political precedents, where the highest scoring political party appoints their member as prime minister. After having been totally embarrassed, cucked, pissed on, and pedo-fucked, all things Macron enjoys, but imagine they were bad things for the sake of this argument in his eyes, by the union of French leftist parties. It was on Macron to follow through on his executive power and decide who the next PM of the country would be. But the long-term husband of a pedophile, I'm sorry, I'm going to push this forever.
Yeah.
Macron decided, because it's true, okay? Macron decided to first have long talks with the very fascists he pretended the election was intended to stop. After those seemingly fell through, the pedophile husband proceeded to make a deal with an anti-immigration, pro-EU, liberal, 70-plus-year-old corpse, whom he chose as the next prime minister. While not having done anything explicitly unconstitutional, he went against an unwritten law of French politics and most importantly proved, once again, that there is no direct electoral path for the leftist, because unless he manages to squeeze in at least over 50% of an election, which again don't guarantee you because you can get killed, a borderline impossible feat even without the killing, you cannot actually enter government, because nobody will want to create or collaborate with you in forming a government. Not completely impossible. I wish to the gods that it is, but this is yet another proof that it might not not be. Macron appears to be banking on the far-right National Rally, led by Marine Le Pen, not opposing Barnier's nomination. That's the name of the corpse, by the way. National Rally party leader Bardella has stated that Barnier will be evaluated based on his performance in Parliament. Basically, they're keeping face in front of their far-right audience, in my opinion. They are more than fine with him being put in that position, because an alternative would be communists that want to hang them in the streets. The left wing, that evil communist opposition, have voiced skepticism regarding Barnier's appointment. Obviously, they argued that Barnier's association with Macron suggests a total capitulation to Le Pen's influence in the political arena, while Mélenchon characterized the decision as indicative of the election being completely stolen from the French populace. I like to say one particular sentence all the time, and I want to hammer it into our audience's fucking ears. Western democracies are democracies because they are Western, not because they are democracies. And what Macron has just done would have been actively criticized by any global power, but in this case it's not, because France is aligned with the only global power that at this point in time matters, and that is the good old United States. So, you know, leftists are crazy because we don't trust anybody, but holy shit, in the last 100 years of this, of our different attempts at experimenting with building a better system, an improved system, we have been proven time and time again that even when we follow the most milquetoast paths towards change, we will not only be sabotaged along the way, but quite literally humiliated the way the French left has just been.
And they'll outright change the rules. Like if it looks like the communists are going to come to power through a, you know, quote unquote legitimate means, like the state approved ways of doing things, capital approved, just change the rules. It's their game. They can take their ball and go home, like what we just saw in France. That's, you know,
and they can cross-pollinate. I mean, even if we were like, okay, Macron does believe in the French Constitution, he does not play against the very specific set laws of the country's parliamentary system. Just ideologically, this is very important for you guys to realize, those who have not yet. Just ideologically, leftists have nobody else to cooperate with, right? Because they are proposing systematic change. Right?
Systemic.
Or systemic, sorry. I always call it systematic. Wow, this
everyone does. Now, but here's a lesson for all of you in the audience. Systemic is when something has to do with the system. Systematic is doing things in an orderly fashion. 1, 2, 3. Systematic.
Holy shit. You just, oh my God. I think I need to rewrite some scripts.
Hey, there you go.
But yes, because we offer systemic change, or at least very radical alterations to the system with more moderate, let's call it, socialist movements. But because we do that, we cannot collaborate with the centrist, with the moderate right, with the far right, with absolutely anybody. And very often, if we are more radical and want actual systemic,
now you got it.
Holy shit, change. Then we can't even collaborate with the more moderate wings of the general West, as we've seen in 100 different moments of betrayal. With the biggest one obviously being in Germany pre-World War II, etc., etc. So just realize that de facto, because of what our ideology to an extent proposes, an attempt to work with someone else is impossible, not because, we don't want to swallow our pride, but because we are de facto incompatible with them, and they know it very, very well. While fascists, centrists, liberals, all of those Lego pieces can build a very nice big Lego swastika. But with the red pieces, you really cannot.
Yeah, no. Our interests are diametrically opposed. That's just how it works. Whereas fascism might be distasteful, it might be a little yucky to those in power because it's not as aesthetically appropriate. It's not super presentable these days. Doesn't threaten their interests like socialism does. So there you have it. Let's move on to a happy story, shall we? Prepubescent Porsche poacher punks police.
What?
I was proud. I was proud of that headline.
Very cool.
Some heartwarming
and it's already
news.
positive because it's not about a guy who goes to bed every night and sleeps with a pedophile.
Oh my God! You just had to get one last jab in at the French. Yeah. In some
Not in the French. This
Macron
specific French.
specifically. Macron specifically.
Who
Oh my God, dear
he
viewer, you
kisses
can
a pedophile on the lips every day. Macron
look
looks
up,
a pedophile right into the eyes and she's like, "I love you," to a pedophile. Stop being married to a pedophile, please.
Are we done with Macron discourse?
No, why is this not a bigger topic? Oh, she's married to a pedophile.
It is weird.
He loves a pedophile. He's with a pedophile.
It was a different time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in some heartwarming news, a 12-year-old boy from Washington, D.C. has broken into his 6th high-end car dealership. Montgomery County luxury car vendors are on high alert as this 4-foot bandit continues to evade the cruel arm of the law. In this latest heist, the little legend broke into a Porsche dealership. He wandered around for a bit, stole a car, and took it for a joyride before being apprehended in another part of town. The woefully outmatched police chief went on the record saying that, quote, "That young individual is in need of some supervision, and I think it's critical that he gets that."
More kids stealing Porsches, less kids shooting schools.
Right, exactly. Do harmless fun, stealing $100,000 cars. Investigators, however, report that the Beamer bandit has broken into 6 high-end dealerships, including Porsche, BMW, Jaguar, and Audi, stealing cars on multiple occasions. Police are at a loss, as the law says they can't arrest a 12-year-old. Children under 13 can't be charged with a property crime thanks to a recent piece of legislation.
How does he know how to drive that well?
I know. How does he reach the pedals? I guess maybe in like in a 911, they're small, stuff like that. But I mean, those Jaguars are kind of big. But the Montgomery County State's Attorney is losing his mind, declaring, quote, "The system we are stuck in now has allowed these repeated occasions to occur. State legislators
must arrest children now. Let us kill the kids.
Put him to death.
Put him to death.
Yeah.
You've stolen too many Porsches."
The guy is a little hero. I love him so much. But state legislators
and
have
he has
passed
good taste. Jaguars, Porsches, BMWs, great taste.
Honestly, yeah. It's hard to go wrong with any of those brands. But state legislators have passed a new bill that goes into effect this November that expands the scope of the previous legislation to include 10 and 12-year-old master car thieves. Until that time, rest assured that our hero will remain at large, honing his skills. Expect the hit Hollywood blockbuster Gone Before Nap Time next summer.
This dude is going to lay so much fucking pipe when he's older because he will have this story forever and ever and ever. He will be the coolest guy in absolutely every fucking group conversation I can think of.
Absolutely.
Oh, what were you into when you were a kid? And they're like, I was into skateboarding. And like once we like accidentally broke that window of the school, but they never caught us. I stole Porsches and escaped the police 12 times. Yeah. I made national news and I'm really good at driving cars. Actually, the movie Driver was based on me, but they were like,
Driver,
we can't cast a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
It's too unrealistic. No, that was me. I'm literally Baby Driver. Can't wait when he turns 18 and then he drives for heists. Like,
hey, 12-year-old kid who steals cars. If you are on the internet listening to podcasts about communism, you shouldn't be, by the way, but you're stealing cars, so who knows? Come on the pod. We'd love to talk to you.
I would love you. I would. No, not in the way Macron's wife loves children. No, just as like my own son. I would love you like my own son. That would be sick as fuck, dude.
You can steal my car.
Absolutely, mine any day. Just please return it.
Yeah. Fill it up when you're done.
And now from this lovely and extremely exhilarating story, let's talk about, war.
Oh, God. Why you got to bring it down?
Moving to the land of vodka, bears, great music, and beautiful people. No, not Russia. The one Russia is fighting. Yeah, but you could use all of those things to explain it as well. And that's kind of sad because, same people.
Brother fighting brother.
Brother, yeah, it's fucked up. But yes, Ukraina Mati. So what's new? Ukraine's parliament took a significant step on Thursday by approving the appointment of Andriy Sybiha as the nation's new foreign minister, succeeding Kuleba, which you probably saw absolutely everywhere all the time, in a sweeping government. He was like the guy with the glasses, like the only one not wearing a military uniform, right? In a sweeping government reshuffle that marks the most substantial change in leadership since the onset of the full-scale Russian invasion. Zelensky emphasized that the country requires, quote, new energy to navigate the challenges ahead, as Sybiha comes to this top diplomatic role with a robust background as a career diplomat, having previously held positions in the president's office and served as an ambassador to Turkey. His appointment is part of a broader cabinet change that sees a total of 8 new ministers being introduced. However, this reshuffle has raised concerns amongst critics who perceive it as a consolidation of power among a close circle of Zelensky's loyalists, particularly those aligned with Yermak, the head of the president's office, who's believed to hold a lot of power, by the way. Another notable change involves the popular Kamishin, the guy with the crazy haircut, who is credited with maintaining the operational flow of Ukraine's railway throughout this war. He's now transitioning from the Strategic Industries Ministry to a role within the president's office. A nice way to say you're getting demoted out of your mind. The timing of this reshuffle has ignited the debates as it coincides with a marked escalation in Russian strikes on different Ukrainian positions, including civilian targets, unfortunately, as well, with critics questioning the strategic timing of appointing new leaders amidst such heightened military activity. The reshuffle is occurring as Zelensky prepares for an upcoming trip to the good old US of A later this month, where he intends to present what Kyiv has dubbed its victory plan to Joe Biden. In his discussions, Zelensky has persistently urged international partners to lift existing restrictions to prevent Ukraine from utilizing Western weaponry for long-range strikes deep into Russian territory. This is where all the memes come from. I love how I have to not dumb it down, but like for people that are not following this
related
conflict,
to the memes,
actively is like it moved from I want $1 billion to, it moved to I want to hit deeper targets, the AI generated one. But yeah, as the situation unfolds, Russian forces have recently gained ground in eastern Ukraine, intensifying their campaign of missile and drone attacks, which are increasingly targeting key infrastructure, including energy facilities in regions far from the front line. Reports indicate that these strikes have become almost a daily occurrence, jeopardizing Ukraine's power sector and overall infrastructure stability. In a related context, Vladimir Putin addressed the ongoing war on Thursday at the Eastern Economic Forum in Vladivostok, indicating that Ukraine's recent actions, specifically the attempted incursion into the Russian region of Kursk, to not have hindered Russia's advances. Despite any setbacks, Putin noted that Russian forces are gradually reclaiming territory in Kursk, characterizing Ukraine's offensive as a tactical misjudgment that has compelled Kyiv to allocate resources away from its key objectives, thereby facilitating Russia's own military operations in the process. The Russian president asserted that the intentions of the Ukrainian government to instigate anxiety within Russian ranks have not been successful, emphasizing that Russia continues to maintain its offensive strategy in the most crucial regions of Ukraine. Obviously, take this however you want. It's either cope or he's telling the truth. Depends on the perspective. General Syrski, Ukraine's top military commander, commented on objectives behind the Kursk operation, suggesting that one of its primary goals was to distract Russian forces from other critical front lines in eastern Ukraine, specifically near the cities of Pokrovsk and Kurakhove. While the Kursk incursion has become a point of embarrassment to the Kremlin, Russian officials have flipped the narrative to present it as a significant miscalculation for Ukrainian strategy, asserting that it ties down thousands of Ukrainian troops without achieving substantial gains. Zelensky has affirmed Ukraine's commitment to hold its ground in that particular Russian area and has indicated that the operation is part of a larger, albeit not fully disclosed, strategic victory plan aimed at bringing the implication of the war closer to Russian citizens and their leadership. this is a quote. Who's right? Only time will tell. I mean, time and unfortunately a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be curious to see some polling on the average American's bandwidth for Ukraine and Russia stuff right now. I would be willing to bet that 90% of people who were super up in arms and like super gung-ho and suddenly Ukraine experts a year ago are now have no idea what's going on. None whatsoever. They've moved on to Israel-Palestine and then probably moved on from that now to the election season, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like everything in America, it becomes extremely partisan. Like because obviously the Democrats were in power while this happened, the Republicans have to be contrarian about it. So the Republicans built an anti-Ukraine perspective, while the Democrats, because it happened while they were in power, they built a hardcore pro-Ukraine perspective.
Yeah,
and it's none of them really, honestly, probably care about to an extent the Ukrainian population.
Nah.
They just care about scoring points with people in America who still care about the Ukrainian plight, et cetera, et cetera. So that it's it just even fucked up things like this become just a part of the who wins, Team Blue or Team Red.
Glad to contribute to global affairs.
Yeah, I love MacBooks.
Yeah, the little thumbs up thing.
Do you know this? For those watching,
whoa, that one does it too. Yeah, for those who are doing audio only, whoa, we're recording in Discord and OBS, and if you do like the little rock on hands, it does like a rave thing. Whoa, Yugopnik knows all these. How'd you make it rain?
Yeah, I'm a professional streamer, baby. Yeah. Twitch.com/YugopnikTwitch.
All right, and for my last story of the day, Chud influencers play the victim. I think we all expected...
What? You have a whole story on me? I'm a Chud, I'm an influencer, and I always play the victim. Why?
Yeah.
Why the sin fighting? Why the sin fighting? Why the sin fighting?
That's what leftists do, brother. I tell you what.
I know you're an MLM and I'm an MLM, anarcho-lem primitivist.
With trot tendencies.
But we don't have to fight with with Zelensky tendencies, but with a Putinist overreach and a Netanyahu perspective on the.
I hate it.
On the
Hezbollah. I don't want to remember one more letter for all these factions.
Yeah, I don't want to. I don't support Hezbollah, but I support that particular tiny Russian guy, Hezbollah. Okay, people keep telling me, why do you support Hezbollah? Oh, dude, I sent literally all the money we got from Patreon for the last year. I sent them to Hezbollah, but apparently I sent it to the wrong fucking bank account, and I got an email of these very happy guys, like 15 of them wearing masks with AKs and 3 massive rockets behind them saying, "Thank you, comrade, for your support." And I'm like, you're not Hezbollah. Did Hezbollah grow? Does Hezbollah have a private military now? And I just bought Hezbollah a rocket? But no, turns out it's Hezbollah. Oh my God.
Such is
life.
They
sent me a selfie when they shot it at Israel the other day.
Who hasn't made this mistake?
I hope you,
honestly,
money well spent. By the way, DOD, Department of Defense, we are kidding.
Yeah, these are jokes. These are jokes. We don't give anyone money.
Only Hezbollah. Only Hezbollah.
Of course. Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, an honest mistake. Anyone.
And the other guy, Burgir. Okay, I'm getting annoyed.
There's Yugopnik's tangent for the day. Anyway, back to the story. Look, I think we all expected the Russiagate stuff to make an appearance this election cycle. We knew it was coming. But what you probably didn't expect is a handful of conservative media personalities crying about being duped by the Kremlin. So a number of conservative media personalities, high-profile influencers in the U.S. have said they are victims of an alleged Russian disinformation campaign after the Biden admin accused Moscow of carrying out a sustained campaign to influence the outcome of November's presidential elections.
What, Tim Pool was wearing that hat too fucking tight on his little head?
Exactly.
Blood couldn't flow as he was receiving tens of thousands of dollars.
A tiny little radio antenna directly to Moscow. Yeah.
Kremlin,
yeah. So it was Tim Pool, like you said, Dave Rubin, and Benny Johnson Johnson, and I can never remember which one Benny Johnson is.
Who the fuck is that?
I think he's one of the Blaze people. I'm not sure. But they all
Who the
published
fuck was
statements.
even Dave Rubin, the traitor to gay people?
Yeah, that's him. Yep, that's the guy.
Him, yeah.
But they all published statements on Wednesday addressing allegations that a U.S. content creation company they were associated with had been provided with nearly $10 million from Russian state media to publish videos with messages in favor of Moscow's interests / agenda or whatever.
But did they get the 10 millies?
Yeah, they got big money. They got big money.
Okay, but not all the 10 millies. Okay.
No. It went to the agency that they worked for. To fund these videos.
Doesn't that happen all the time with Israel? But it's
absolutely.
not a thing.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine in that case. It's just Russia bad. It's like if the rules were just applied universally, great. Whatever way you want to do it, let everybody fund or let nobody fund. But making a whole hubbubalub, as we say, over it is just a little goofy.
And this would not be funny, and we probably wouldn't be taking so much a shit on it, because again, if somebody can take money, then everybody can take money. It's a fucking very gay. But these are hardcore American patriots serving the American interests abroad and domestically, serving the white man in his pursuit of, and the motherfucker takes for it, buddy.
A lot
Arguably
of it.
the biggest enemy of the U.S. right now. Very patriotic, brother. Yeah, we serve.
They serve money, baby. They don't care about the United States, as we all know. But a Justice Department indictment on the subject does not explicitly name the company that's involved, but is very obviously Tenet Media. They all work for Tenet. And the company has not responded to the allegations at time of recording, at least. The U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland, that is such a stupid name. Every time I read it, I'm like, what kind of a name is Merrick Garland? Mike Truck. The company, he said, quote, "The company never disclosed to the influencers or to their millions of followers its ties to RT and the Russian government," end quote, and claimed that Wednesday's indictment marks the most sweeping effort yet to push back against what it says are Russian attempts to spread disinformation ahead of the November presidential election. Now, Tim Pool, a notorious coward, chimed in and said, quote, "Should these allegations prove true, I, as well as the other personalities and commentators, were deceived and are victims." Benny Johnson took the same approach, saying he was, quote, "disturbed by the allegations in today's indictment, which make clear that myself and other influencers were victims in this alleged scheme." Now, you tell me, but that sounds like PR speak to me. They both gave pretty much the same statement.
Sure.
These are allegations, and even if they are true, we're just little birthday boys. We're the victims. Please, no jail time. Ooh, right?
Yeah, honestly, it's bad PR because why the fuck would you use the word victim?
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck you got like hundreds of thousands of dollars probably. You don't get to play that card.
Yeah,
I would have played like we were manipulated. We were misinformed. This is like just...
it was an oversight, yeah.
It was an oversight. Why the word victim? And it starts, like, his little sentence starts, like, it's the beginning of the paragraph calling himself a victim, which is...
Which is like it's against their whole machismo thing. They hate the victim mentality. It's like, oh no, it wasn't my fault. I'm so sad.
I'm a victim of many thousands of dollars. Oh my God, I never ask where the thousands of dollars come from when I talk shit about minorities.
Yeah, and none of their viewers will care at all. They'll be like, yeah, you were wrong there, partner. You deserved them $10 million. But, when Reuters reached out to RT for comment, the outlet responded with ridicule, saying, quote, "3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, and RT's interference in U.S. elections." Which is that's objectively pretty funny.
That's fucking based. It's based.
Yeah. Now, we're all adults here, right? We all know that pretty much every major power is meddling in the affairs of geopolitical rivals in some way, whether overtly or covertly. But what I'd like to know here is, what exactly is the disinformation Russia is supposedly spreading about the U.S. elections, right? No one ever seems to give specifics. And I'm not saying it's not happening, though we all know the U.S. blows it way out of proportion to cover their own ineptitude and lack of democracy, right? But, like, what's the disinformation? Like, not once in multiple articles on the subject did the author say, Russia is pushing this specific talking point, which is false, here's how it's false. But the icing on the cake, for me, was Garland's closing statement in the indictment, where he said, quote, "The Justice Department's message is clear. We will have no tolerance for attempts by authoritarian regimes to exploit our democratic systems of government." Just, ooh, it's perfect. Just chef's kiss. Just, wow. Oh. It's so good. It's like, it's like you couldn't write this parody. It's so.
You're merely getting a phone call from Netanyahu. What the fuck do you mean you don't get fucking?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Dude? What the fuck? It's like no, not you, dude.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. It's just we gotta yeah. So that's Russiagate is back. Everybody, please enjoy. I'm sure this will come up at the debate on Tuesday.
I can't wait. I can't wait for Russians to say, "Yo, so the Israelis can do whatever they want because a lot of people died in World War II." You want to know how many fucking Russians died in World War II? Let's get a new term for like what's like anti-Slavic sentiment, motherfucker. Okay,
Yeah.
you can't tell us we're doing propaganda. That's
a good point.
But no, like no matter how much you dislike, fucked up regimes from all over the world, including whichever one you wanna side with or not. It's ironic that the U.S. does not apply these same standards to arguably. I mean, I'm sorry, it's stupid to compare like kind of fucked up leadership of different states, but arguably the one they give a green pass to manipulating their domestic policies is literally the worst government on planet Earth.
Yeah,
like
absolutely,
which is Israel.
Yeah,
it is. It really is. Really
I'd say
is.
so. I'd say far and away, currently in 2024, it is the worst regime on earth. I don't think it's a stretch to say that.
And we wish it a very happy. And with that, to all our Patreons, I wish only the opposite of that. A long and healthy life. Both because I love you and because you support this show. And it only is, I think, 3 months, like Patreon cuts off when somebody's dead. But jokes aside, thank you so much for supporting what we do here. We wouldn't be able to be so direct, so unhinged, and so, I'm sorry, but unbiased without your lovely support. We don't get that America money. We don't get that Russia money. We don't get that China money. So you guys are what allows this show to grow and prosper and stay as objective as and unbiased and, I mean, admittedly biased, independent. Thank you. Independent as possible. For all of you who might be listening to this and would like to support the show and join our beautiful army of patrons, you can do so through the link below, and for a low price of a can of beer a month, you will get plenty of benefits, such as every single episode 1 week early, 2 completely exclusive episodes, access to the Discord, the massive Discord server, one-on-one, group sessions with us for certain tiers, etc., etc. The benefits are absolutely fucking unhinged. But the number one is you get to support your unhinged bros.
And with all that said, thank you all. This has been the Deprogram. I'm JT.
I'm a Ugopnik, and Macron is having sex with a pedophile. The president of Western countries is having sex with a pedophile. He's fucking a pedophile.